So this is the company that created analysis services, and then they sold that to Microsoft, and now they have BI visualization products. And so he's going to present on that. I just want to have kind of a segue between the last talk and this talk by doing kind of a job announcement. That is, so people come to me all the time and they say, do you know somebody that can do this job? And I had two people come to me this week. One said, we want a data scientist. We want somebody who knows Hadoop and R and some algorithms, and we're looking to pay $300 an hour. So I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. And then somebody else came to me and they said, we have a job and we need somebody who does just classic BI, does reporting services and SSIS, and we'll train them on the other data science tools. We'll train them on R and Python and Spark and Hadoop. So all that stuff, this stuff is really out there, you know. And if anybody is interested in those kind of jobs, let me know. You know, because that's what we do. It's about learning and networking and taking care of you all's needs. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our presenter. Are you ready?
I guess I'm ready.
Okay.
You hear me? All right. Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is James. I am from Panorama Software, as I was introduced. I'm guessing that there's a cross-section of people in here, so I'm going to try and tell you about some interesting business insight capabilities of SSAS and NECTO. I hope I don't bore you. If I do, just, you know, feel free to yawn or just, you know, kind of heckle me. It's fine. I'm used to it. So basically, what I wanted to start off talking about is, of course, as everyone's well aware of, we're in a time where there's massive amounts of data, and yeah, you've got Hadoop, you've got the real classic big data, and then you've still got the room for the OLAPs and the tabular and the technically now small data that it is. But what we've tried to do is you know, work off the technology to try and bring everything together. We have the abilities in the background to link cubes, tabular models, Hadoop, SQL databases, right down to the simple flat files to create another model and hopefully, you know, aggregate the data in a good way so that you can get to where you need to be, which at the end of the day is solving a problem and, you know, finding your peaks and your troughs in your data. Okay, so I'm going to, hopefully I don't bore you all with this video. You've probably maybe all seen it or a version of it before. You don't actually need the audios, so it shouldn't come across. But just keep your eye on the visuals, and let's see if it'll play okay in here. Okay, so I'm guessing that probably half of you, oops, probably half of you actually did see the gorilla, and if you had seen it before, maybe you didn't see the colors changing or something else like that. But the point of the video is that when you're looking for something, you might be looking for something specific, so you might be missing everything else. So the point of that is what we're trying to do as a tool that uses analysis services, and analysis service itself is give you the ability to not miss the gorilla, not miss the changing of the color, not miss the person leaving, but actually you can't be everywhere at once, so you would like the system to alert you to that fact, and you would like, you know, the data to actually work for itself a little bit as well. Okay, so I'm going to go into a few technical things, and like I said, I'm not sure of the audience, but one of the things in SQL 2014 was that they took out bids. For the non-developers in here, the bids was actually the tool that allowed you to create the cube. So it was the designer for the cube, it was the designer for the tabular. Now, what did happen when they took out bids, they basically made it freely available to download. They changed its name, but it's freely available to download. And it's called something along the lines of SSDT-BI, which is a really catchy name. But basically, they've created one tool where you can develop SSRS reports, SSAS reports, and SSIS functionality as well. And basically, you can install it on a separate machine. So if you have access to the cube, you don't have to be a cube developer anymore. You can actually just install it on a machine. It's going to install VS 2013 engine for you. It's only available in 32-bit, but that's okay. So you can run it on any machine as long as you have access to the cube. You can actually see what the cube developer has created for you. So if you're someone who's actually a BI analyst, or someone learning BI, or just you know you're trying to look at your own work, you can see the cube from anywhere. Now, whether or not you can edit it, that should be controlled by your development team and your security team. But it's definitely there. So even though Microsoft never said why they actually removed it from the core product, it's actually worked out in a lot of ways for the kind of partial developers or the people who need to know. Okay? So what I'm going to do is flick to a server that I'm going to use today, so you can have a quick look at it. So this is the AdventureWorks that we all probably know, the AdventureWorks DW 2014 OLAP. Now it's running in the SSDT-BI environment. It looks very similar to the old environments, but now, as I said, everyone can kind of use it. So this is the innards of a cube. Basically, you've got data sources, you've got data source views, then you've got the cube and the dimensions as they've been created by the developer. Within the cube, you can have dimensions, of course, calculations, KPIs, actions, perspectives, translations, lots of different things that the cube developer develops, but you don't necessarily know about and you don't necessarily know that you can use. Okay? Now, just to kind of show you everything fully, like I said, this is the AdventureWorks, this is the OLAP version, and if I flick over here, this is the tabular version. So this is the in-memory model. It's exactly the same layout, or it's the same tool, but it's just shown a little bit differently because this is the tabular version. Okay, and everything looks a little bit different over here because basically in the tabular model it's a very simple area where it's just showing you references and the model. 1 second, bear with me. Okay. So I'll now flick back to here, my machine. Please allow me to flick back to my machine. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is the sets. So I just showed you here that the sets are defined in the OLAP. So this is how you would define a set in OLAP. Very simple. You create the calculation. It's going to be MDX. Not everyone's able to or wants to create MDX. This is very simple MDX. We're just taking all the members that we think that we know are non-empty, or MDX is telling us is non-empty, and we're taking the last two, so the tail of those members. So we're calling it the last 2 years data. Okay. So if I now go back out to my machine, I look at Necto, and this is Necto. I'm not going to tell you too much about Necto. I'll just kind of show you what it can do. But here I've got in the same workboard, I have the AdventureWorks tabular model, and then I have the AdventureWorks OLAP model, which we just looked at. Now in here, we're wanting to whittle our data down to find the insights to do the job. So in here, you can replace the data with a set. Okay, I can take the last 2 years data from here. So this is the cube set bubbling up into Necto. If I click on this, I can say OK. And now we've got the last 2 years data. Okay, so we've got financial year 2012, financial year 2013. The thing that you need to know, if you don't know already, is that the whole point of a set is it will actually break hierarchies. It will flatten everything out, unless you request it to not do that. Now, in some tools, of course, including ours, you can do that. You go back to your sets, you click on the last 2 years of data, you show allow drill down and say OK. This will then allow it to keep the hierarchies and allow you to drill up and down as you see fit. Okay. Now, building on top of OLAP, that's what we do now. So obviously what I'd like to show you is that we can do a similar thing. With Necto, you can take the current year's data. Let's say I want to select some members from here. So I'm going to take this data, 2013, 2012, move it across, and I'm going to create a Necto set. At this point, it's going to be the same as a cube set. So I'm going to call it BI, for instance. Let's say OK. And now I'll cancel this. And I'll go back into here, select the members, and now we can use sets. And I have BI, which I can move across. And I can even explore within it to see what's in there. I can only take certain members if I'd like. And also we have the ability to drill down on the selected members. So by choosing that, we're going to get the same set. We're going to get the ability to do that. Now, with Necto, one of the other things that's interesting is we have a very powerful social backend. Now, it may sound like Facebook or something like that, but it's not really. If I select members here, I have the ability, now I've saved that in the public area, I have the ability to, if I wasn't an administrator here, it would be saved in my private area. But I could share that with other people. So if I created a set and then I wanted to share, it was a very useful set, and I wanted to share it with other people, I would simply just share it from here, and then if other people had shared sets with me, I can use their sets that are available just by clicking on them and saying OK. Now, Chris hasn't shared any sets with me, but the point is that we can share sets, we can share formulas, we can reuse the data, and that's the power of our social concept. Okay. So once we've whittled down our data with sets, once we've kind of done that, now how else can we find more data or more reasons, more interesting functionality within Necto and within the OLAP cube? Okay, so I'm going to go into my design mode right now. If I go into my design mode, what I'd like to do is bring in a geographical component. I just drag this guy in and drop him here, and immediately Necto realizes that there are geographical components. Now, how does it do it? So behind the scenes, I'm going to flick again, I apologize. Behind the scenes, what we've done is you can see the geography dimension, which is in the cube, and each of the geography attributes has the type of, on the name. It has a type of city in this case, of country in this case, postal code, state, province. You get the gist. So basically, we're picking up again more attributes from the cube and allowing that to drill through into Necto. And here you can see immediately Canada is obviously the big country. We've got the United Kingdom, Germany, France, etc., etc. So we can drill into that to see more information. Now, this can go down. You've got OLAP can go right down to different areas. Tabular can go down to longitude, latitude. So for what you might want, you've got to choose the right kind of model as well. Okay. Now, this can also link to exceptional data as well. So if you wanted to add exceptional data, you could do that. We have lots of different options here. So you can use boundaries, shape colors, and even exceptions. So I could pop exceptions on the map if there are exceptions defined here. And I'll show you a little bit about that later. Okay. Now, what else is there in the cube that we can actually take advantage of? One of the other things is the person attribute. So again, I'll flick back. I'll show you where this is. If you have, let's say, employees, it doesn't have to be people, but there's a new attribute that came in 2012, I believe, which was called a person type. So what we've done is take the employees, and this could be anything. This could be employees, it could be buildings, it could be, whatever you want. You can name something as a person. But the point is that we're going to pick it up and actually utilize it. So for instance, if I go to, let's say, United States, and I look for find people, what should happen is that I will see lots and lots of people that are relative to this, okay? And obviously, using our data, we're usually looking for outliers. So maybe I'm going to get this grouping, which is the highest, and then what I can do now, I can see it's Stephen, I can see there's a couple of other people that I might want to use, but I'm going to show them in the grid in this case. So I'm already slicing and dicing out by this. So we can see that Stephen is relevant in Canada, the United Kingdom, the United States. I can actually look at his reporting, the people that report to him, and see where they where they fare as well. Looking at Pamela, let's say she's obviously got the lowest sales overall. Maybe I want to drill into her and kind of find out more details about her. Okay, so that's another way to drill in and get more data relevance on the particular items that you're looking for. Okay, what else can we do? We can utilize KPIs and exceptions. So, for instance, what if I wanted to bring in a KPI here? In our world, we actually call this infographics. So what I can do is add an infographic to the cell here. We'll go to our grid visuals to look at some templates. And maybe I want to compare to the parent. Let's say OK. And I'm not sure how this looks on your screens, but let's blow it up. And you can actually see here, how does David compare to his parent? So we've got David, he's actually only selling about 2.9% of the total. with regard to reseller sales amount. You can get a lot of interesting information on here, and each of these infographics or in-cell calculations, KPIs, whatever you want to call them, has their own parameters that you can actually change on the fly. They have their own templates. I could show the last 10 months, 12 months. I can show the differences between periods, that kind of thing. Okay. So what else can we use that's actually out of the cube? We have the ability to drill in deeper with some actions. So in here, we've got some actions that were created. If I go to my actions, we've got, let's say, mapping abilities, reseller details abilities. And if we actually go into into the tabular model, these don't exist. So Microsoft actually did not add support for actions currently in the tabular model. Now, the Microsoft folks who are, kind of just want to have the actions in there, they went out and created something called Bids Helper. Okay, so Bids Helper is actually available from the Codeplex site, if you're familiar with it, and it allows you to create actions. So what it actually does, if you click on the model here, it adds all these few items in here. So the ability to have display folders, actions, tabular translations, printer-friendly items, and so on and so forth. So now you can actually, currently, if you have SQL 2014, you have the ability to use actions and those kind of things with Bids Helper. Now, it's not officially supported by Microsoft, and it does tend to lag about 8 months behind the actual release cycle. So when they release 2016, there won't immediately be this Bids Helper, but I'm assured that it will come actually faster than it has recently, because they're showing betas right now. Okay, so what does this allow you to do? For instance, let's take this out of here. So we'll remove the employees. We'll get rid of the date fiscal. We'll go down to the United States. We'll drill down into Arizona, let's say. Okay, when we drill down into Arizona, one of the items that's an action in the basic cube is this. We go to actions, and we can view a map for that. So we can get a Bing map and have a look at the United States Chandler. Okay, it's a nice action. If we wanted to go to a cell action, we can actually click on the actions there, and we could have a look at the internet details, drill through, and this will give us the line items for that particular cell's aggregation. Okay, and the same thing is going to be available, just to prove that I'm not lying to you, if we go to Arizona, and the same thing will be available here for Chandler, because I created an action on the tabular model, and it will do exactly the same thing. Okay, so how can Necto add to this? Well, with Necto, you could actually create drill-through actions. You could create Java actions. You can create actions that go out to URLs. Okay. Some of the other things you can do with regards to the KPIs. We've seen an in-cell KPI, but now we can see an on-the-fly KPI. This is called a one-click insight, and what that allows you to do is automatically look at the growth from the previous period. So in this case, we're looking at yearly periods. This can be changed to have the relationship be greater than, less than, equal to. Change the threshold on the fly, change what you're looking at on the fly, maybe a previous period or a parallel period, and even filter the data. Now, once you've got that, what can you do with it? You could actually send this out as notifications to other people. So you can save this workboard. You can basically perform a set it and forget it. So I can say, let's say just BI. Okay. And now I can create a user-led notification. I can set this to be hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. I can set it to send a link to the workboard or maybe an Excel attachment to either of the ones that I'm bothered about. And then I can set it to send it always, only when data is changed, or when a specific exception, in this case the one-click insight, actually occurs, so that the user has full control of when and where this notification is going to send out and whom it's sent to. It can be sent to just myself or to anyone else. And I just save it and I close. I'm going to say no to that. So the notifications are a very important part of Necto. But also, again, with the social items, we can save this and we can actually share it with other people. So I have the ability to save this into my private area and I can share it with other people. So let's say I want to share this. I can just share it like that, add different people and add different permissions for them. Let's say this is going to be Chris. And we'll add Chris, we'll give him read permissions. We'll say, okay, now Chris, when he goes into this third tab, he will get the option that he knows something's from me because he'll see my name here and he'll be able to open my work and have a look at it. He can take that, save it himself, providing he's got the permissions on the data. He can take that and modify that and keep on working on it. The data is always secured from the cube layer or the model layer, and if you haven't got those two layers, then you can secure it with Necto security, like for instance web services, and that anything even more granular as well. The final thing that I wanted to show you that we can actually do is bring in, again, the social aspect, bring in people. So I've got different people in the system. Let's say again, here's Chris. I want him to know what I'm talking about. I can just drag him anywhere. We've got context, so we can drag him on the components, the members of the dimension, even the cells, and we can start conversations with them within the context of the workboards. Okay? And all this metadata is actually coming from the cube and then being mashed up with our own metadata to actually sit, to give them the context of this conversation, which can be there. We can add other people to the conversation just by dragging them in or adding them here. We can add roles in. Now we have this user who has no access to the current workboard, so we've obviously got to share it with him. Once we've done that, then this actual conversation will be accessible forever in the system. Even if the person leaves, then they're still going to get it. When they come in, they're going to go to a certain place in the data. We call it a snapshot, and they'll see this particular snapshot of data in the context that it was at the start of the conversation. So they'll know where the data came from, they'll know what they need to talk about. And if this issue that we may or may not have got to was ever solved, then we can always refer back to it rather than actually, going over things again and again and again. So I'm going to stop there. If you guys have any questions or information you want about OLAP or about Necto, you can let me know. But I appreciate your time.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Well, thanks for your presentation.
No problem.
And we appreciate that you all sponsored. And actually, if you'll give me a call right after you sign off, I'd appreciate that too. And then, other than that, that's kind of our program for tonight. We have some raffle stuff.
Right. So if you want to turn in your evaluation sheet to Julie Julie coming up here, she'll give you a raffle ticket, and we have some items for raffle. We have a.
Could you send me your email, your phone number, please? And then I'll
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, perfect. I will sign off. Thanks very much.
We have some 30 days